pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Oh, damn. Yeah, lots of applause. I kind of like that. It feels like you just walked into the wrestling ring at WWE or something like that. Kind of like that. Like, I wish I had a big old American flag to wave around. What's that guy's name? Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Didn't he used to do that?
Ayo!
Yeah. We just showed our age with the Hacksaw Jim Duggan reference. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Big BoneYard. I'm glad y'all could make it here. That means if you're here watching us tonight, that means that you made it through the weekend. So I see my man Bolo cut to the chase. It's good to see y'all. Thank you for joining us tonight. And let's get it out of the way early. Hit the like button, hit the like, subscribe, share, do all of that. Tell your friends. Go ahead and do that. But anyway, so you got me. I'm Big Bone 1%er. Daggone, the hostess with the mostest. But the good news is we got doggone A-Bait Tate. What's up, Tate?
Same old. Just took Fat Girl back to Tallahassee so she could go back to her mom's. I've had her for the week.
Oh, right on.
Very interesting week.
Little daddy daughter time. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Man, but I tell you what, it's been so Daytona was this weekend, a lot of stuff going on. Daytona, of course, always popping. For those of us that were blessed enough to go, that's always a cool thing. And when I say those of us, I mean, because there's folks from many states away that this time of year, every year, some folks do it every single year. They plan for it. Other folks, it's their first year coming down. They've been saving up and planning and plotting to make sure they can get. I hope all of y'all had as a good time as it looked like everybody did have this year. Not too much excitement, no kind of crazy drama or anything like that. So that's always a good thing to hear.
I think we did a very good job representing ourselves as motorcycle enthusiasts in Daytona Biketoberfest this year. It wasn't no crazy anything. I ain't hear about any drama or BS. It was actually nice to hear about Daytona and go, oh my God, what happened this time?
Yeah. And it depends also because Daytona, I'll tell you a secret. All right, it ain't a secret, but the main part of Daytona, I say the main part, but Main Street of Daytona, whenever you hear about something, which fortunately is not all the time, but when stuff comes up, it's always over there because you got 9 million cops. If you sneeze wrong, ordinarily, they're ready to jump all over you. And the interesting thing was this year, especially with the mandates that the police have to screw with bikers, surprisingly, that was their opportunity to do it. And they didn't take it, just harassing people just for that. I mean, there's the normal harassment, but it didn't get extreme this year. So that was good to hear. But over on the black side, like if you're talking over by Bethune-Cookman, that's where, the black, the brown, and the super cool white folks.
That's where the party's at.
And now, in years past, you wouldn't see any cops, like none. But I'd say the past 3 or 4 years, cops have started because the crowds have gotten so massive. So you still have some police presence, but it's not like over on the other side where you can't walk 5 feet without bumping into a cop from some jurisdiction because they bring in cops from other jurisdictions. But
it's crazy.
Over by Bethune-Cookman, what they affectionately call the black side, not too many cops, and the ones that's there are just, they're vibing out, listening to music. I mean, they're there, but they're not like harassing folks or any of that stuff. They're there because somebody said, hey, you guys go over there type of thing, so it's cool. But anyway, so tonight, this is kind of interesting. Let me see if I can pull up the whole doggone thing. Hold on.
While you're pulling that up, I will say that if you're trying to enjoy Daytona, go over by Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, yeah,
Don't go downtown because they cram more people on Main Street downtown than sardines in a damn can.
Yeah.
Oh, while you're pulling that up, though.
Yeah, I got it.
the thoughts and comments that we are going to give tonight on this show are those of ours and ours alone. They do not, represent any organizations and or clubs that we may or may not be a party of.
That's not what it is. No, that's what it is. But yeah, so our opinions are our opinions alone. They don't reflect that of our organizations, our clubs, or anything. So yeah, that's just the stuff that he talking, the stuff that I'm talking. Shoot, the stuff that y'all talking when you call in. Which, by the way, feel welcome to call in tonight. But hey, I'll tell you about tonight's show. Tonight, this show is heavy lies the head. Meaning, that's from an old Shakespearean expression, which says it actually says uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. But Americans, we change it up. So we changed it years ago to heavy lies the head that wears the crown. That just means it's rough business being the boss of an organization, a club, or any of that. But here's what we wrote. So everything. This is example number one. Everything in your club is going great. You're well respected. You're having fun. Your parties are friggin' lit. You're riding motorcycles all over North Freekin America. Your president must be doing a great job, right? Well, or let's say your club is in shambles. You can barely get anybody to show up to church. You can't get them to pay their dues. Like they act like it's more of a suggestion than anything else. Nobody knows what the heck happened to that money that one time, and you're pretty sure that somebody smashing the Probies' wife. Your president must be the worst, right? Right? Okay. Well, either way, the president gets the credit for that stuff, whether he wants it or not. And if he's a good president, he doesn't try to pass the buck, which that happens. So a good president isn't trying to pass the buck about good, bad, or indifferent. He's going to say where it came from legitimately. But anyway, but what are some of the ways that a president can avoid all this sort of BS starting in the first place? So that's what we're going to find out tonight on the Big BoneYard. We're going to delve into it a little something. We're going to look a little bit. Heather Mo, what's up, Heather? Heather just came in the house. Heather, what's up, Heather? And Kenyatta, good to see you, sir. Kenyatta, always good to see you, sir. All right, Kenyatta, man, look, Kenyatta is a friend to me, a friend to the club, a friend to the show, and always great to hear from you, brother. But let's get into it though, and definitely we feel free to let us hear from you if you got something to say. The phone number to give us a call is 310-870-8994. If you got a question, a comment, you want to share your peace of mind, your 2 cents worth or what have you, feel free to give us a call tonight. We can chop it up a little something. But yeah, so get over there, pushing a little button. But yeah, so Tate, I know we scribbled out some stuff as we were talking about this, but tell me a thing, like as far as and we're calling this 5 things that an MC president should know. As in heavy lies the head that wears the crown. 5 things that MC Prez should never do, not know, but never do. So what was one of those things that you wanted to bring up?
So I'm going to do these in reverse order because I feel like the way I put these is like the most severe is at the top. So the last one I put, and mind you, this is from an MRO standpoint, allow non-members to weigh in on, I put club, but the organization's business.
Right.
Now with ABATE, anybody is welcome to our meetings. All you gotta do is sign in at the door, which can at some points cause an issue, especially with the ABATE of Florida being strung so far across the state and new members popping up every day. You may not know, hey, that guy's not really, he's here, but he's not really a member. But somebody may acknowledge him and allow him to speak during a meeting. And where I find an issue with that is, as you know, ABATE of Florida right now is in the process of bringing back an old party they used to have, Spooks and Scoots. So as we're getting ideas for this and we're deciding, okay, where are we going to spend money at? Where are we going to try to save money at? what are we going to budget this at? What are we going to budget bands
You
at?
don't want to tell them everything, because if they want to know all that, they got to come to a meeting or join.
But what I'm saying is,
I hear what you're saying.
when it comes to those situations,
Yeah.
I don't feel that non-members should be able to weigh in on decisions like that. And that's where I disagree somewhat with the way our meetings work, is that anybody can come in. So let's say your brother's in town from where you're from, and you acknowledge him to speak during a meeting, not that you would, but and he's up there and he's like, well, I think we need this band. I don't know that he's not a member, because you could have signed him up the day before at the hotel.
Right. I see what you're saying. All right. Well, I'll tell you from my way of looking at it, and I'm don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm for sure familiar with, and I'm a VP of a ABATE chapter and all that, and doing MROs and ABATE for a long time. But a little longer than that, I've been in a motorcycle club, like in a couple of different motorcycle clubs over the few decades I've been doing this thing. And yeah, on the MC side of the fence, that is some stuff that's just unfreaking heard of. Like, it's unheard of. It ain't a thing. We don't do it. It's not, like, if you're not a patchwear member of this club, then you ain't sitting in my meeting. Now, you might be. I'll give you for a little slight variation on that. If you're from a different chapter, not like if my chapter is Tampa and you're from Utah and you happen to be in town and we're having church, you want to come through, brother, you're more than welcome. As long as you know the body or the body or the board or whichever, as long as everybody's cool with it, hey, no problem, come on. But that's like a normal sort of a thing. If somebody wants to stop by your church and they're a patchwear member of your club, sure, come on. You know, and on very rare occasions, there might be something sensitive that might not be spoken about in front of somebody who's not in the club. But it's like you said, if somebody's not a member of your chapter, oh, you absolutely know it. So if they're not in the club, they ain't gonna be. You can forget about that anyway. But if they're from a different chapter, you're gonna know that too, and you might move accordingly if necessary. You know, because the way certain large clubs work is every clubhouse is their clubhouse. It don't matter whether you're in Idaho, Utah, or friggin' Timbuktu. If that's a chapter of your club, then you're more than welcome to come in there whenever the hell you come in there. So I get that. But that is the thing for somebody in a president's position. I would, from my standpoint, I would look at it more like controlling information from outsiders. Not necessarily in a meeting per se, but making sure that folks don't have loose lips, and that means the president and everybody, and all the way down to the probate. Everybody, you don't talk, and that's a rule in most MCs. You don't talk club business. Your club business is the club's business, not no pillow talking, which that's a thing. You got a new girlfriend, she's cute, you want to impress her, so you start telling her stuff that she don't need to know about, or maybe she wants to know because she's really not trying to be your girlfriend. She's really, somebody else's girlfriend, and they said, hey, go pillow talk with this cat and get that information. So there's so many variables and so many, but yeah, in the meantime, shut the hell up, stop putting your information out there to whomever. I think is really the thing that we're getting at there. I'm talking with my hands a lot.
You always do it.
That's
why I started holding the pen.
Forget about it. Right. Anyway, I'll tell you. So I came up with some stuff, and I went outside the box because I figured with us talking about this between folks watching yourself, me, we're going to hit all of the traditional things. So I started thinking, here's the thing, because I watch too much CNN and all that stuff too. One of the things is abuse of power for personal reasons, like making club decisions that really aren't beneficial to the club. You're doing stuff because it helps you. If a chapter president or national president or state president or or the MRO president, if a president, any president, you can be president of the United States. Just saying. You're not
We
supposed
discussed
to,
this earlier.
yeah, you're not supposed to do things that are beneficial to you and your homeboys. You do stuff that's beneficial for your club, even if it means that you have, because here's the thing about being a president. The president, your job as president is actually, this is going to sound crazy as hell. Your job as the president is to actually serve the people that elected you. And
Why?
And the ones that didn't elect you, because guess what? If they're in the body, you're the president that they have. Your job is to take care of them. I know that's mind blowing, ain't it?
Can we play that back?
I wish I had a rewind button, but no, I don't. But yeah, but real talk. Your job as president is to serve the people that elected you, and even the ones that didn't. So that's what. So like, there's a thing that I love in the Marine Corps, and that's this thing. It sounds like something real silly. I noticed at ABATE meetings, the first time I saw this, it weirded me out. To this day, I don't feel comfortable with it. I actually don't like it. And that's this. We'll be in a state meeting for ABATE, right? And we'll break for lunch. It's time to eat. And the first time I heard the state president say, okay, we're going to go ahead and break for lunch. So let's everybody stay seated. Let's let the board get over there. We're going to let them eat first. And then after that, we're going to let so-and-so eat next, and so and so and so and so. And then we'll call your tables or your sections or whatever. And that's how people are going to eat. Sounds like a simple thing. But in the Marine Corps, the ideology is this. The highest ranking man there, he has to take care of his troops. He serves. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a hierarchy in the Marine Corps, but the way it works is if you're a general, you're the last one to eat. It's not like you see in the movies where they're going to, make a hole because the general's coming through and let him go get his chicken leg. The private who's been 20 minutes out of boot camp, well, he's got a lot of work to do. He's doing real work. So guess what? Let him eat first so he can get back to it. And then the PFCs, and then the lance corporals, and then the corporals, and then the sergeants, and so on and so on. But you start from the bottom up, because those are the people. Like in an MC, that's the people. Like when I've got probies out there doing whichever, I can't tell you. I mean, it happened with me when I was a probie. I do it now. If I see a probie out there doing his thing and he's taking out trash or grabbing ice, not at the same time, folks wash their hands, just saying. But if he's doing probie stuff, he's cleaning up this and picking up that and running here, running there, and this, that, another thing. Yo, probie, hang on a second. Did you eat? Did you get something to eat? Hey, you need a bottle of water. It's hot out here. We're in Florida. You get something to drink? Hey, probie, come over here. Get in the shade take 10, 15 minutes. Go over there, chill out in the shade for a little bit. Take it easy. Like
I've even seen that at your birthday party.
Yeah. That's the thing. So it's like, it bothers me, and I know I got off the subject a little bit, but the ideology of taking care of your folks as a president, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of your people. If you have to, take a short or fall back or not get as much as something that you wanted for the benefit of the people, that's what a president is supposed to do. Whether it's a chapter president, a state president, or a president of the United States, you're supposed to serve the people. But anyway, I digress. What's your next one, man?
Hey, you ever sit back and realize who the last one at a state meeting is to eat?
No, I know who the first ones are. I don't know who the last ones are.
It's usually the hippie-haired, bearded guy with the shorts and the long socks with the Vans on that helps bring the food in.
Right. That's me. I help bring the food in too.
I'm usually
in June. Yeah. I help bring the food in. I'll say it like that.
I'm usually the last one that gets to eat. I'll piggyback off of yours. Rule as a complete dictator.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm sure I've seen it in ABATE. Now I'm sure you, amongst a lot of others, have seen it on the club scene where there's one president and he just everything is not only for his benefit, but whether or not the board votes one way or the other, if he feels that needs to be done, that's what's getting done. And it's like there's checks and balances for a reason, just like the American government. We have checks and balances for a reason. Well, we used to, but for a reason. And that was so not one individual had complete power.
Right, right. And you know, and that's the thing. If you have a in an MC environment, and here's I'm going to try not to sound like I'm double talking, but here's the thing: it's important that a president be able to say, "Hey, this is my opinion on it, and that's what we're going to do." So a president and an MC, especially in a diamond club, he has a good amount of authority to say, this is what we're doing, and that's that. About a good number of things. But there's also the reason you got bylaws is because bylaws are going to tell you what those things are and what they're not. Because there's some things that, hey, we got to talk about that, or we need to take a vote about that, or let's see what we've already decided, because the bylaws are going to tell us that. So the bylaws in some clubs, I've seen this for myself. I've seen bylaws for a whole club that was one page. I've seen bylaws for clubs that were 40 pages. So it depends on what your club says, what your bylaws say. And guess what? The shorter those pages, the more likely it is that your president has the opportunity to be a straight up dictator. Now, here's the funny thing. If you have a good president, oh man, you look, do what you do, Prez, because this thing is rocking and rolling and it's working good. That's on the contingency that you have a decent president that gives a damn about his club and his patch and
that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, knows what he's doing, right? But if you got that guy who actually wants to be a dictator, total sidebar, but just a little thing. If you meet a guy in your club, or you know a guy in your club, and he's just wanted to be president so bad for as long as he can remember, he just wants to be the president, that's the guy who should never be president. He should never be president. And sometimes rarely is he going to come right out and say it. What he's going to do is he's going to constantly talk trash about whoever the president is or whoever's in the cabinet. He's got nothing but critical stuff. He's not offering any suggestions on what they should do to make things better. He's just going to use every opportunity, and usually he's going to make buddies with those guys that he's trashing. He's a snaky motherfucker, right? But he wants to be president real bad. And after a while, folks are going to figure it out. If that guy becomes president, you're in trouble because he's the worst guy for the job. The best guy for the job is the guy that don't want that job. He knows it's going to be a headache, because if he does the job, he's going to do it right, which means it's going to be a pain in his butt. He don't want to do the job. But he's also the guy that says, if my club needs me and wants me to do it, I'll do it if they want me to do it. That guy, 9 times out of 10, is going to be the best doggone president. But he also has built-in haters, because the guy who really wants to be president is going to be a built-in hater for that guy. He's going to have a tough way to go, not because he's not capable, but because he's got somebody that's hating on him that just wants his job. There's cats who would rather burn the whole thing down and be the president over some ashes instead of being a member of a solid club that's doing great things. See what I'm saying? He'd rather be the president over some ashes instead of being
a member of something great.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but so I'll tell you. So let me grab another one. Let me see. Alternate a little bit. I scribbled this stuff down. Okay. This is one. Okay, so you're the president, but you decide to, like I said, I'm going outside the box a little bit. You're the president, but you decide you want to be disrespect another patch holder in public. And when I say another patch holder, I mean I'm talking about first and foremost people in your club, and that means probates, members, officers, whatever. If you disrespect somebody in your club, especially out in public. It's a bad look, and it creates the sort of resentment and stuff that it has the opportunity to linger. And not just within your own club, because now folks are looking at you. If you got to do all of that, if somebody was thinking about coming your way or thinking your club was something special or decent or whichever it is, and they see that kind of action, whoever did that in public just destroyed, hey, brotherhood. That didn't look like brotherhood to me. Yeah, I know he was a probie, but he's gonna be a brother one day, isn't he? That's how they do. No, you should never, ever, ever do that. Now, if it's somebody outside of your club and you disrespect them, here's the thing, and I'll keep it a buck. I have disrespected the hell out of some people in public, but I meant to do it. I did it because I meant to do it. And usually there was some bumping or something later on, usually right after that. I mean, if I disrespect somebody in public, you best better believe I meant to do that shit. Ain't no doubt. I meant to do it. But that's a different thing. Disrespecting somebody because you're stupid or because you can't control your mouth or because you're trying, and this is the worst, disrespecting somebody because you're trying to look cool, that's the worst thing ever. Disrespecting somebody because they're not worthy of respect and you getting ready to check their ass, that's a different thing. That's education. You getting ready to give out some education. That's different than trying to look at me, I'm so cool. I got 40 guys behind me, so I'm going to disrespect the one guy that's here by yourself. Nah. Because now, again, you look weak when you do that. So,
well, I'll even say from the outside looking in, if I was looking to potentially join a club, and I can't use yours as an example. I've been around too many of your guys to know that it just don't happen that way. But and they're out there and they're treating their probates like complete shit. I'm gonna be like, why the fuck do I want to hang out with these guys? Like, I don't want to go 6 months to a year of being treated like complete shit before they're going to be like, hey, now we can break bread. Now, fuck that. Is there shit I know I'm going to have to go through as a probate? Yes, by all means. But as far as complete, utter disrespect, no. That's bullshit. And you know, and you've seen very well that even on the A-bait scene, I do not allow that whatsoever.
You know, the thing is, if you think of it this way, and you just kind of touched on it a second ago, if you're talking about probates, right? Yes, of course, like you said, you're gonna go through some stuff as a probate, and it's not like everybody's gonna give you a big old hug and a sloppy wet kiss. No, you're gonna get yelled at sometimes. You're gonna have to run around and do some stuff. But guess what? In public, the rest of the world don't need to know about what it is that you're going through, to what degree you're going through, and all like that. And even at the worst of it, you're not being disrespected. So my rule for a probie is I'm not going to ask a probate to do anything that I haven't done or anything that I'm not willing to do right now, this second. I mean, like right now, this second. If I'm saying drop down and give me 20, you best better believe if he ain't doing them right, I'm going to drop down and do them 20 with him, which is why you won't catch me telling 20 probates to drop down and give me 20. But if I do, I'm feeling froggy that day, you know? But
must have got your cortisone shot that day.
That's right. I got that good shot in my shoulder. I'm feeling kind of good. Let me do my thing. But you know, the thing is though, is that in public, because here's the thing, a probate might get it that, hey, at the house, I'm going to get the business. But what they don't want, what nobody wants, is they're trying to join this club for a variety of reasons, but none of those reasons are. And there's always, every brother in any club should learn humility. Especially in a 1%er club, you should learn some humility, because when you got humility, you actually can learn something, right? So there's nothing wrong with being humble and having a certain air of humility. That's for purposes of education. That don't mean that you're weak. That don't mean that you're soft. That means that the best leaders always have been the best followers, right? That's just some knowledge for anybody in this club life. That's always a thing. The best leaders have always been the best followers, because it's a learning process. You're always in the process of learning. or at least that's what's supposed to happen. But yeah, but going back to that thing, yeah, disrespecting in public. What's your next thing?
So this is one that I have never done. I've held many hats with Inside A-Bait. I've been sergeant at arms, vice president, president. As a sitting president, I never once voted.
Okay.
Because I feel that, and it's even in our bylaws, that if there is a tie, the president is the vote that can break that tie. So if there's a tie, I don't need to vote unless there is that tie as a president. That's just something I feel strongly about, because I feel a lot of people in this world, in this biker world, are blind to the fact of, and it's not just the biker world, it's everywhere. My president feels this way, I should feel this way. Nobody should feel, I don't want to, it sounds kind of kiddish, but I don't want to say peer pressured, but peer pressured into voting a specific way because that's the way the president voted.
Right. Well, so here's what I think about that. And I get that. So for what's that expression they say for transparency and all that, in most motorcycle clubs and in a number of organizations, similar organizations, a president cannot vote. And for those that allow it, it's the president is dissuaded from participating in votes. However, a good president should always have an opinion or a vision about where his club needs to go. So if he's invested, invested, there is a difference. Vested means he's a member. Invested means he actually gives a damn about what's going on within that club. But having said that, so yeah, a president is usually a tiebreaker, or is the tiebreaker when it's necessary, but he don't get a vote on most stuff. However, that president is definitely can be a good president, is going to be influential, as in he's going to get out there and lobby for a certain thing. He's going to give his opinion prior to a vote. Hey, I think like this, and and here's why we ought to do it. But when there's a vote, there's also a discussion about it so people can say their piece. But depending on how important that vote is, there's people that might be lobbying behind the scenes about that thing for weeks. So a good president is going to try to guide his members and persuade them as to why he thinks this is good for the club. And if he's a good president with a good track record, he might can win some folks over. Now you also have that guy I talked about earlier who'd rather be the president of the ashes. He's gonna, no matter what, he's gonna oppose anything that makes sense that the president's trying to do. He's gonna oppose it, if only for the reason of giving that president a hard time. So there's that guy. You always got to deal with that guy, right? Then also, and here's another, let's say you got a bad president who's just in it for himself and he's trying to get the club to vote on some stupid shit. He's still going to lobby and try to pressure people into, a bad president's going to try to pressure people and threaten them and, try to get them suspended or get them a fine for some unrelated stuff. He's going to pull all the dirty tricks, right? To get that guy out of the way so that his vote can pass. I've heard about guys going after a member who was going to vote in a way that the president didn't agree with. So the president suspended him so he wouldn't be there to cast his vote. Damn. And then, of course, after the vote, I've heard of some crazy stuff happening. Fortunately, I've not experienced, I've experienced some stuff, but some of the crazier stuff is just stuff that I've just being on the set for a long time. I get calls from people all the time with some outlandish stuff, especially like the out bad stuff we were talking about, some crazy stuff with out bad, because folks, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but we talked about that before. Anyway, what's your next thing, man?
Something I've always felt strongly about. The president should not handle the money.
Oh, mm-hmm.
That's like, I played video games as a kid. One of my favorite games was Guitar Hero, and then it turned into Rock Band. And it always said, Do not let the drummer handle the money. Do not let the president handle the money.
Right.
You have a treasurer. You have a sergeant at arms. Let them deal with the money and make sure it's all accounted for and everything, and it's put up accordingly. President don't need to touch that. I feel that's just, to me, it's a conflict of interest. You already have somebody that's job is to deal with the money. Let them do that.
I've seen, man, that's a big one with me because I've been the president, the VP, the state president. I was a national president once upon a time for a thing. I'm very involved with income. I'm a director for Region 6 and I'm on the board and all this stuff. And guess what I don't do? I don't handle the money. Now in the ABATE, people sometimes will give me cash, like a person joins, they give me cash. I take a picture of it real quick, and I send it to the other people on the board. Hey, somebody gave me this money. I make a deposit, text message the doggone receipt, bring it to the next meeting. I jump through all kinds of hoops because I hate, and I've preached this for decades. You don't even want the impropriety. You don't want the suggestion or the hint of impropriety, in particular when it comes to money. So if you're a chapter president or a state president or whichever kind of president, like you said, you have a treasurer for a reason. You got a business manager for a reason. There's certain folks that's their whole function, and they better do their job good because ass whoopings are definitely a thing. You mess with my money, I'm coming to see you. I'm not going to mess up my own money, so I'm certainly not going to let somebody else do it because it's somebody else's job. And that's the only job they got to do. So if y'all are listening, please listen to this. If you're in a club, please listen to this. Don't mess up nobody's money. And if you're a president, don't touch the money. Stay away from the money. Don't come up with 5 different reasons as to why it's okay for you to touch the money, because it's never okay for a president to be messing with the money. Don't take no money. Don't spend no money. Don't be the one that collected the money and then you put the money in there and you said, I'm putting in 2,000, but could have swore it should have been more like 3,200. Because guess what? Now it's a question coming up. What happened to that money that one time? Don't do it, y'all.
Why is the club fund a little late?
Yeah. Any number of things, like in churches. I mean, like a Holy Ghost, like Help Me Jesus church. That's the thing that you always hear about on the news. When one of these guys gets in some trouble, it's because some pastor did something with the money, or he bought his girlfriend a house or something. And it always starts with the money. So they even have that saying that they say in the media, follow the money. It's always about the money. So chapter presidents, if you're listening, if you want to be a chapter president, do yourself a gigantic favor. Tell them Big Bone 1%er told you, stay your ass away from the money. Okay. Anyway, so hey, I got another one. Let me see here. So what I wrote was failure to properly vet new members. Now, that's not really the way I wanted to say that. What I mean when I say failure to properly vet new members, a chapter president, if he's doing his thing, now maybe if the club is super small and very new, yeah, you might have the opportunity to vet new members, but typically that's actually somebody else's job. Whoever brought that member in, they should be vetted before they ever even come to your door. And then when they come to your door, for whatever reason, if they're hanging around, somebody needs to be cool with the idea of them hanging around. Somebody's got to co-sign that dude being there. And if he becomes an official hang around, that's where a few different folks are saying, yeah, we want him to hang around. And in the process of that, you're learning something about him. He's learning something about you. You're figuring out who he is. And that process shouldn't be 20 minutes. It needs to be a while. There's no rush. There's no time limit on it. Whether it takes 6 months or 5 years, he hangs around until somebody says, hey, I think he ought to wear our patch. And guess what? You're doing it again. So the properly vetting, the president is supposed to make sure that his folks are doing, his members, his patch holders are doing their job. Now, the SA, yeah, that's the SA's job. But it's really every patch holder's job to help vet a new member. because once he's in, he's in. It don't mean he got to stay in, but if you bring in a new member, whoever is the one who said, "Yep, I vouch for him," you're putting your rags on the line, or at least that's the way it should be. So the president's supposed to make sure that that's happening. I know when I joined my club, good Lord, I went in the Marine Corps. That was pretty tough, but this was a close second. I mean, folks getting all up in my business, good, bad, and indifferent. I was like, Lord, that.
Why did you change
You want
your
me to
underwear?
cough? Yeah. Do you want me to cough right now? What the hell? So, but guess what? The more real your club is, the more they're going to want to know who are you, like, because the MC is the place where you actually get to choose your people say, oh, you can't choose your family. Yeah, you can. We do it all the time. So if you get to choose your own family, you should choose well, make good decisions about something like that. Because if you do it right, this brother's going to be around you for the rest of your life or the rest of his life. So choose wisely. What's your next one, man?
So this is big on my side of the fence. Choose his own cabinet. That goes back to what I was saying before as checks and balances. In ABATE, when we vote our new officers in, each officer has to run for that position. I'm not too familiar how it works on your side of the fence. I like the way we do it. That way, Big Bone 1%ers not like, oh, hey, ABATE hates my boy, so that's my VP. And now we're running roughshod all over the chapter or the state. God forbid. Instead, everybody, like our state elections, each chapter will send their delegates to the state meeting with their chapter's vote on who gets that position.
Right. Okay. Well, see, and I'm glad you said that. So with MCs, most traditional MCs actually if you think of it this way, if you have confidence, it's sort of like a military, it's very military minded. And then the CG, the commanding general, the board is not going to tell him, or the troops aren't going to tell him, hey, we want your second in command to be this guy, and we want your so-and-so to be that guy, and so on and so on and so on. That never happens. That CG comes in, and whoever was there before him, he might get rid of every one of them. Or he might say, hey, this guy right here is pretty hot. I'm going to keep him. I'm going to add this guy, that guy. I'm going to get rid of that one because I never liked him. I'm going to bring in this guy. Whatever his reasons are, if he's the guy, then he's calling the shots. So earlier I mentioned how a president and an MC has a lot of room to make a lot of shot calls, and things that where he's not making shot calls, we're going to go to the bylaws about. But one of those things that he gets to do some shot calling about is his cabinet. He gets to choose his number 2. He gets to choose his SA and his the friggin' the bar manager, or the business manager, or the enforcer, or road captain. He gets to choose whoever he wants. But that's because the theory is, if you have enough faith in this president to lead this chapter, then have enough faith in him to pick a good team around him. And I've seen chapter presidents pick a board. He picked his whole cabinet, and a few months in, he's done switched up 3 or 4 of them because, hey, this guy just ain't working. It was not what I thought. And like a rule of thumb, for example, is if you have, and you kind of touched on it, you got a chapter president who he picked all of his homeboys and said, oh, you're going to be the VP, and you're going to be the SA, and you're going to be, because we went to kindergarten together, and da-da-da-da-da, and my cousins and them, and that's his cabinet. He's screwed up already. He's absolutely screwed up, because in those circumstances, he's more than likely, if he's picking his cabinet based on who he likes or who's cool, bad mistake. Because guess what? If your SA is somebody that everybody likes, he's going to be very ineffective. because he's everybody's buddy. The SA, I'm preaching to the choir. The SA, man, everybody hates the SA. The SA hates himself. Because this is a job where you're just an asshole, whether you want to be or not. If you do your job properly, somebody ain't gonna like it. So guess what? It's not a popularity contest, it's an efficiency contest. So
I'll tell you right now, left my daughter here at the house yesterday morning to go check out a chapter right down the road.
Yeah.
Just to, hey, somebody was complaining about them, so I showed up there and they're like, oh fuck. And I was like, hey, I'm just here to see how we can help you.
Right. And the funny thing is often if you have a good cabinet or a good SA, that should be the first attitude is, what if anything can I do to help? But now in an MC, the sergeant at arms is usually not showing up saying, how can I help? He's coming with a specific group of instructions. Like, give me that. You did this. Here's what's up. Da 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 da. Let's fix that. And by the way, the SA and an MC, the SA is a pretty influential individual because he can check the president, the vice president, the damn dog catcher, whoever it is. The SA that's the dude that he can check anybody and everybody whenever the hell he needs to. But he's also the same exact guy who, if somebody says what's on page 14, section 2B of the friggin' bylaws, because we have an issue and here's what happened, well, he's the guy that's supposed to know that. I know SAs who used to carry with them all the time. They'd have state bylaws, chapter bylaws, and national bylaws. They keep them on their person all the time, just in case, because stuff happens. You know, even when we're out of town, or if folks were out of town, I saw guys do that. You know, but so all right, here's another one. What'd you lose? Anyway, so here's my other. Oh, right. Yes, mine are right over there, actually. Right. But so here's another thing. Incite police attention. Now, you might say, how can a chapter president incite police attention? And that's real easy, believe it or not. It's real easy because all you got to do is, not let your chapter just be out there just buck wilding, just wilding out, doing stupid stuff. And instead of you as president saying, hey, let's lower the temperature, let's lower the profile. We don't need to be looking like that. And dealing with folks that bring you that attention, there's certain chapter presidents who buy into it. They're out there doing the most. The president, he's doing the most. And other folks, other clubs and other chapters like, wow, look at them. So if other clubs are going, wow, look at that silly shit that they're doing, you best better believe the police got the same eyeballs that everybody else does. And if you're out there getting a whole lot of attention, like I said in the opening, good, bad, or indifferent, it's your fault. The president gets the credit for all of that, whether it's something great or something not so great. It's the president's fault.
Yeah, well, and as the president, you don't need to be out there doing that stupid shit either.
Yep. Oh, especially. Here's the thing about being a president that's just a unfortunate fact of being a president. If you're acting a fool, then you could have the best chapter in North America, man. I mean, every one of your guys could be on top of his game, squared away, knows his stuff, well respected in the community and everything else. But if your president is a clown, you're a clown. If your president looks like an idiot, then the assumption is the rest of y'all must be idiots too, because he's your president. And it sucks because now you could have a member that's a dumbass and everybody's going to look at that member and say, oh, that must be how they are, until they meet your president and your president deals with that dude, puts him in his place and handles that business. Oh, okay. So they're not like that. But if your president's an idiot, the assumption is the rest of y'all are too. So as a president, you have an extra burden that, just like all members should, you're representing your club all the time, but a president doubly so. So don't get that extra stupid attention, because it's easy to get. It's really easy. What's another one you got?
Promoting members too quickly.
Okay.
Now, like I said, within ABA, it's always up to a vote. If it's the chapter votes in the board. If it's a state, the chapters vote in the board. But there's been times, especially in my life, throughout ABA, that I've been pushed to go for positions where I didn't feel I was ready. And I've had to explain to not even my chapter president, but other chapter presidents that were like, hey, we want you on the state board. And I'm like, I appreciate that. Thank you. However, I don't feel I'm up to for that yet. So let's wait it out. Because if you bring somebody into a position of power too quickly, if you bring somebody into a position of power too quickly, then I feel like they don't know how to use that power correctly, and it can turn into an abuse of power. So this isn't like my abuse of power goes further than just the president. It goes for anybody across the board.
Right. Well, I think for one thing, and I understand when you say the position of power. If I'm talking to a chapter president or board, whomever, and they're talking about power this, power that, power the other thing, it always gets my attention a little bit because, like I mentioned earlier, a president, I don't want a president who's ever like on a power kick, right? Because the president obviously has some power, but a good president is not going to be conscientious. He's going to be less conscientious of the power thing, and he's going to be more conscientious of, damn, I got a lot to do to serve my members. But going along with that, putting people in certain positions, sometimes a good president can see, hey, so and so would do a good job at this, and there is a conversation that has to be had, like you just said, like, hey, I'm not ready for that, this, that, another thing. I've seen a president say, no, I think you are ready for that, and we're going to support you and help you learn this position because you've got all the skills that this position requires. Sometimes it's a confidence thing, and a good president can instill confidence in somebody and also provide support for them. But it's a whole other thing. That's my homeboy. Hey, you do this job, and he's an idiot. Like we're gonna make him the treasurer, but he don't know how to count, right? He's like can't balance his own checkbook, but we're gonna make him the treasurer because he's my homeboy. So yeah, that's one of them. Don't put somebody in a position just because or too early or any of that sort of stuff. So, and here on the MC side of things, there's not a vote about who's going to be the treasurer. It's somebody gets, hey, you're going to be the treasurer, and they're going to, what the hell? I can't do math. Let's talk about it. And guess what? If you can do math, your ass is the treasurer. Either that or get to stepping. But I mean, I'm getting that. I'm making the extreme example of it. But typically, most people in a club want to be there for their club. So if they have the ability to do something, then yeah, they're going to do it. But like you said a little earlier, you said, hey, I wasn't ready for it, didn't want it. So you give a damn enough about the organization to say, thank you, but I don't think I'm ready for it. But by the time you felt like you were ready for it, you're like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And that's usually the sign of a good member, which also is a good leader, somebody who's reluctant to do something because they don't want to mess it up. They're more concerned about doing a good job than they are about, I got some power, that power thing. That's why even as you said it earlier, I'm like, like it's like nails on a chalkboard to me because like I said, you got these cats who would rather be the president over the ashes than just a member in a really good club. So that's always a thing I'm thinking about. Chirac, what's up, babe? But anyway, okay, hey, I got one. Okay. This comes up sometimes in clubs, and it depends on, the type of club as to how likely it's to happen. But that's this: allowing a family members to interfere with club business, club matters. And what you usually see is somebody's husband, if it's a female club, or somebody's wife, in the case of a lot of MCs, because you got these wives who they first of all, somebody's pillow talking. If she's all up in the business, shut up and stop pillow talking. That's thing number A. Thing number B, if you're not a patch member of this club, you shouldn't be in club business. I've been to because I'm I'm the chairman of the COC, and I wear a few other hats, so I'm around a lot of different motorcycle clubs. And sometimes you'll go to somebody's clubhouse, and there'll be some wives, and some of these clubs, women are full patch members and stuff, right? That's a little different when they want to talk about club business. But in these other clubs where the wives just wear something saying they're a supporter of whatever her husband is, or something like that, and they know all the club business, and they're sitting there, and you'll see a group of 5 women, and they're talking about all the club business and arguing about, well, so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that. And I'm listening to stuff. I'm like, how do they know that anybody said this stuff? Because they're repeating stuff that happened in church. How do they know it? That's first question. Second question is, and then you'll hear some lady say, well, I told him such and such and such, and I told him he better do this and he better do that. And yeah, and he listened to me, because when he went to church next time, he told someone. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And then you go over there to the guys, and they're having the same conversation. Well, Carol Ann told me such and such, so I told them in church. And they're proud about it. And then they wonder why it is that they spend their bike night, half of the bike night, arguing about club stuff at their own bike night. I'm like, what the hell? So yeah, keep that stuff out. That goes back to pillow talking. Stop it. Stop talking. Stop running your freaking mouths. Just stop it. It's bad for business. It's just horrible for business, and folks do it all the time. So not just family, but anybody that's not in your club, let them mind their damn business. Keep them out of it. But I digress. All right, let me get off my soapbox. Gotta let it go. Yeah, that one pushes my button a little bit. Yeah, man. But I'm better now. I'm calmed down.
You better now.
Yeah.
Calm down. Let's see. I went through my list. Let's see if I can think of any. What should a chapter president not do?
Yeah. Oso, you in Puerto Rico? Oso's in Puerto Rico. What's up? Wepa!
Here's one. A chapter president should not, at any point in time, be a bad influence.
What up, Big Mike? Yeah, be a bad influence.
Because when I first came into ABATE, I watched a lot of you. I watched a lot of Black Dragon.
Yeah.
So my mindset was to look at things from a different perspective than I've learned to look at things within ABATE. And you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should listen twice as much as you talk. Keep your mouth shut. Sit back and listen. Being a new guy, just 7 years ago, my whole first year, my first 6 months, I'll say, because I was promoted pretty quickly. My first 6 months, that's exactly what I did, was sit back and watch. To the point to where people didn't think I liked him. People were like, he's not enjoying himself here. He doesn't talk to a lot of people. No, it had nothing to do with that. It was me scouting out to feel who I can follow, who I can't. And there was a number of people I feel, and I had to deal with them later on, that the way they were portraying themselves, and this wasn't just presidents, this was other members of a board, They were portraying themselves in an image that I felt made the chapter look bad. So if you're cussing and acting a fool, like we discussed earlier, bringing heat to the clubhouse, acting a fool in public, and let's say your side of the fence, a probate sees that, he might be like, hell yeah, once I get my rags, I can do whatever the hell I want to. That's going to fill your chapter, just like it with an ABATE. It's going to fill your chapter with members of the wrong mindset. Because
Well, what is it? There's a thing that happens. It's called patchitis. Patchitis is this. So one, you do have to, as a president or a leader in a club, or if you're what some folks call an OG now. You've been doing this for a while. You're a lifer. Folks look at how you move, and some of the younger, or not even always younger, but some of the more influential members, uh, they aspire to be like you a lot of times because you got a certain time in, or people treat you a certain way. Um, but patchitis is this. It's a couple of different things, but one of the things that it is I can't wait to get my patch so I can show my whole entire ass. Not for any particular reason, but because that's what I've seen done. Because a lot of guys, they don't know what they're supposed to know right away. Like I'll piggyback on something you said a little earlier, and also I'm going to come back to, or not also, douche. I'm going to get to your question in a second too, brother. But so here's the thing. For when I first came into my club, now I didn't say nothing for almost a year, because somebody told me early on, hey, if you ever get your patch, that's just the start of it. You don't know how to be a bro yet, so you fall back for about a year. Like, you got two eyes and two ears, so you can look and listen twice as much as you're running your mouth. So I didn't say nothing. And I got a job in the club. I had a certain position. And that was when I started talking about stuff. And typically, as I was talking, it was usually only about that. I didn't have too much to say. And after about that year, people were like, man, this guy, you don't say too much. This guy is very quiet. You don't got much to say. And when I started talking, like, oh my God, this guy will never shut up. He will never. Yeah. And you know what I'm
I
talking
believe
about.
that.
Anybody that knows me knows that's the thing. But yeah, for like a year, I was like a deaf mute, because I was, hey, let me learn what I need to learn. And there's certain things in a proper club you're supposed to, boot. Like in Marine Corps, we say boot, or like, you a half a probie, you was a probie 2 days ago. So just relax, like stay in your lane, like learn a thing. So that's a part of it. But the thing is this, patchitis, here's what patchitis is. You get that patch finally, and if you did it right, you earned it. You went through some stuff to get it, and you're proud about it. And after you got that patch, you're convinced, because everybody knows when you put on the patch, when you put on those rags, they have magical powers. You become 10 foot tall, bulletproof. You got a 12-inch thing. And every woman in North America wants you real bad because you got that patch, and it's because of the magical powers with it, right? But for a little bit, that's kind of what these cats believe. That's what patchitis is. And then they act like it. So patchitis is when you get them rags on and all of a sudden you turn into a different person, and guess what? You're not a different person, because let me put it like this. And this is where vetting your members, and this is where the probie, the hang around process and the probie process, the reason it's so incredibly important is this. Because if you get a new member, and all of a sudden he's a tough guy. Wait a minute. A year ago you was a pussy, but now you're a tough guy? A year ago you was a family man. You was a family man coming into the club, but you was a family man. Now you a Svengali. You gotta chase all the women. Now you're drinking and trying to do a little of this, and you're trying to do all of this stuff that you didn't do before. No, I tell every new guy, every hang around, every probie, if you didn't do this type of stuff, if you're not doing this type of stuff now, don't start doing it after you get that patch. Because just be whoever you are. Because the way I see it is this: if you tell me that you are a tough guy and you can knock everybody out, and you damn near a killer, you tell me that, there's gonna come a point in time where I'm gonna need a tough guy. I'm gonna need somebody who's damn near a killer. I'm gonna be, hey, where's you was the one that told me you was damn near a killer. Come here, I got something for you to do. Don't tell me now you're a scientist and you love astrology. I don't want to hear about astrology right now. You told me
I
you was
like
a tough
long
guy.
walks on the beach and spaghetti dinners. I ain't never shot at nobody.
Yeah, and I didn't say nothing about that. But I didn't say nothing. I don't know, listen, allegedly, for example, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like, don't tell me that you're one thing and you're really something else. Whoever you are, be that guy. Stick with that guy. There ain't nothing wrong with that guy. Kenyatta says, lifers, as Ken said, Ken Sagittarius says, lifers, 10 plus years, 100% deserve a different level of respect. The average marriage these days lasts 3 years. People can't even keep an oath that they made to God. So loyalty has to be especially valued now. And that ain't nothing but the gospel. Doggone Heather Mose telling me, hey, she's saying 100 Ken. That's a fact. That's why I fuck with him, man, because that dude, he be dropping some knowledge. But look, that's a true statement. It's a very true statement.
Oh yeah.
As it relates to lifers, these are cats, and of course, I get why people would aspire to be like some of these lifers. But folks got to understand, the lifers, they get mad respect because they earn mad respect. They've been doing this thing for a minute, and they've got, of course, they have some interesting stories and stuff. This is a funny thing I see. I see a guy who will listen to all the lifers, hear all the stories and stuff, then go around, 3 weeks later, he's repeating one of them stories, except for he's changed a few details. He put him in the middle of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute. You ain't never been to Colorado. Wait a minute. Didn't so-and-so just tell me this story a week ago? Or I think I was there when this thing happened and you wasn't even in the club then. So stop playing. Stop playing, something like that, because there's a guy from, I won't say what club, it's a guy who's a member of a certain club here. I was in North Dakota. Here I go again with North Dakota. And one of his chapter members was there telling me a story that I know his brother in Florida, that's what happened with him because I was there when it happened. But I'm there in North Dakota listening to a guy who's the same club who's telling me this thing. And I'm thinking, wow. But the guy that we're talking about is a well-respected lifer in his club. So I'm like, okay. So, I didn't bust him in front of God and everybody, but I pulled him to the side. I said, that was so-and-so, right? Oh, no. You think all white boys look alike? No, I know who you're talking about, and that wasn't you. And here's how I know. He's like, uh-oh, then he does the, eyes bugging out his head thing, Anyway, also had a question. He said,
it was Duke.
wait, was that the, no, wait, where's the question? Hold on, where's that question he had? Damn it, where was this question? Hold on. Also had a question. No, it wasn't also, it was Douche.
It was Douche.
Where's this
Since
question?
you mentioned family, what about fast tracking somebody to patch or power because it's a relative?
How'd you find that? I don't even know where it is. I know
I scrolled back up to remind you, and you picked it up before I did.
All right, so read the question again, please.
Since you mentioned family, what about fast tracking somebody to patch or power because it's a relative?
Oh, great question. The answer is absolutely freaking not. Absolutely not. In fact, if anything, throw some extra time on him. Because boy, he gonna earn it. Because ain't nobody, my nephew, whom I love profusely, he's probably watching tonight. I love my nephew. And if my nephew came to join my club, I'm gonna make it real clear to everybody and their mother, do not absolutely. And he's a Marine, thank God, so you wouldn't expect it, but I would make it real clear. Don't nobody give him any inclination that he's gonna get any special treatment because he's my nephew. Because there's no such thing as a legacy in my club. You earn it the same way everybody else earns it. In fact, if anybody watches the Outcast Forever documentary, it's a brother on that documentary called Superman who's talking about his own son. He says, hey, if my own son becomes a probie and such and such, and if he ain't doing right, don't even worry about it. I'll run him off my damn self. Or he said my GD self, you know. And here's the thing. I know that, bro. And his son, and he wasn't joking. That's the thing. Now, the way this works is this is something I would never steal the opportunity and the experience from anybody who, if they made the cut and was bold enough, brave enough, and confident enough to say that they wanted to become, or for however it transpired, became a probate in my club. Okay, hey, I respect that. I appreciate that. But they have a journey to go on. There's a group of experiences that are unique to them. And by, hey, we're going to make it easy for you, you just stole from that man. You just stole every bit of the things that he would learn, the experiences that he's supposed to have, good, bad, and indifferent. You're influencing his decisions and his experiences. I would never do that because that's tantamount to stealing. And on top of that, you end up making a weak ass brother when you do that. He's supposed to go through what he's supposed to go through, not what I say he's supposed to go through.
Well, and I can piggyback off of that. And you were around A-Bait at this time. I was brought in by my grandparents. My grandfather was the VP. My grandmother was the legislative rep. And that's how I was brought in. Worked my way up, assistant sergeant at arms, VP, president. As a president, I threw my grandmother out of my chapter. Everybody, but how can you do that? That's your grandmother. That is my grandmother. But at the end of the day, this is also a business. I am very much so, you got to separate personal and business. And I'm sure you look at your club the same way. You got to separate your personal life and your business life, because if you don't, there's the potential things could go wrong. It's always bad for business to mix the two.
Yeah, you know what? I look at it like this. Like you said, the club it is for sure. It's our business, but it's also, it's also your family. And if you want your business to run well, you make hard decisions. If you want your family to run well, you make hard decisions. The same way you can elect who joins your family, you can elect who leaves your family. That's something that we get to do where we are. If somebody's not right for this family anymore, there's remedies for that, right? And there's also, hey, guess what? If you're not going to respect me, and it's not even a you thing. It's like if your grandmother, which I don't know the situation, I've heard the story before, but the thing is that there's a system in place, and everybody's got to appreciate and respect what that system is. And if somebody, whether it's a blood relative of mine or not, if they're not doing what they need to do, then they have to be, somebody's got to address that with them and remedy that situation in whatever fashion is necessary. And that's irregardless of your DNA, because the club is the club is the club. Nobody put a pistol to your head and said, you got to put on these rags or you got to put on this A-Bait patch. No, you did it because you wanted to. That means that you volunteered to follow the rules and the decisions that are made in and for this club. And hold on, wait, let me get it. Kenyatta's dropping some more stuff. He said, yes, I remember that. But oh yeah. When Superman, he was talking about Superman. When Superman said that, anybody who hasn't watched, it's called Outcast Forever, and I think it's available on Amazon. It's on Amazon, or you might can find it on YouTube here. But Google that, Outcast Forever. It's a really interesting documentary about Outcast. I watched that documentary probably 8 times, and I only ever found one thing wrong with it, and that's a certain bro. You can watch it for yourself. And the one thing that was wrong about that video, and I asked that brother years later why he said it, but he says, if you become a probate in my club, he goes, the only thing we ask is you give us 30 days where you belong to us. You got to probate for 30 days and put your heart into it or something like that for 30 days. And after that, you can be an outcast. Everybody I know that heard him say that fell the hell out laughing, because I don't know what them 30 days is he's talking about. 30 days. I know cats that probated for 3 years. I don't know what is 30 days. So yeah, that 30-day thing, that's not a real thing. I ain't gonna tell y'all all our business, but I will tell you that part was bullshit. But other than that, it was pretty solid. But anyway, also I want to tell y'all definitely we're getting ready to wrap it up here right now, but I wanted to tell everybody, hey, if you're still here rocking with us, take a minute, hit the like button, hit the share button, like, subscribe, share, all like that. We definitely want folks to have the opportunity to hear our little chit chat about 5 things MC presidents should never do. That's been the subject of tonight. But yeah, check us out. We got a lot of good stuff. We're going to be passing some information about some of the holiday things that we're going to be doing with the West Florida Confederation of Clubs and ABATE. The BoneYard chapter's got some really cool stuff coming up. So next time we visit, we're going to have all that stuff, a lot of good info to pass to you, both for those of us here in Florida and folks out of town. So a lot of good stuff. But I got to say thank you very much for coming to ride through and rock with us a little something tonight. Tate, what, if anything, you want to say to the folks?
Anybody that is in the BoneYard region of Florida, I will be at their next chapter meeting, which is October 30th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be doing the MSAP class for the safety program. If you want to get certified to be a member or to be able to teach that class, I will be there doing that. I also do free autographs, just saying.
Right on. Hey, well, I'll tell y'all what. Oh, also, if you want to support the Big BoneYard, you can use Cash App, which is the $ Bone OFFO. And when you do the thing, it'll pop up. It'll say the Big BoneYard. So, hey, if you want to show us some love, we appreciate it. It'll help us out doing a whole lot of stuff that we do. Along with that, hey, I guess that's about it for tonight, because we've been at it for 1 hour and 18 minutes. So we went over a little bit, but that's all right. We got to hang out with y'all. In the meantime, I just got to tell y'all, thank you so much for coming through, rocking with us here at the Big BoneYard. Kenyatta, my bro, it's always good to see you, man. Kenyatta said 30 days probate equals club full of all kinds of alphabet boys, guaranteed. And yeah, you're right. Kenyatta,
We don't like them.
Yo, Kenyatta knocking him out of the park tonight. He also says good night, everybody. But yo, in the meantime, thank y'all for joining us tonight. And we're going to do this again in about another 7 days. But in the meantime, peace out, y'all.
Welcome to the Big BoneYard. Enter at your own risk.
Decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.